planting the corms of two plants that are often confused for one another. The crocus, the fall blooming crocus, and the colchicum. Now the fall blooming crocus is a true crocus. It's related to the spring blooming varieties that we're more familiar with that mark the end of winter. But the colchicum is a colchicum. It's a different genus altogether. However, the flowers of the two appear at the same time and they do resemble each other somewhat, and so I can understand the confusion. To add to that confusion, the colchicum is often called autumn crocus. So of course we're going to mix that up, the two species. Now they have some differences. The bulbs of the colchicum are quite a bit larger, and this is actually a very tiny species of crocus. This is Crocus golemii, and many other crocus are about two to three times larger than this. So this is a really small example, but you can see a difference in size. Another difference we're going to see is in the foliage. The colchicums have floppy, larger leaves, somewhat similar to a hosta, and in fact they look really at home among the hostas. And the crocus have those really familiar blade leaves that we're familiar with from the spring blooming varieties. The flowers are also a little bit different. The colchicums are going to be a bit larger, and they appear naked without the foliage. The foliage will come on in the springtime, whereas our crocus foliage will either come up right after the flowers or in the springtime. Okay, some places, site considerations for our bulbs. I'm putting them at the top of our rock garden. They like a really well-drained soil, so the rock garden is a wonderful place, as are herb gardens, or up on a bermed area where the soil is going to drain well. We also want to consider sun. Crocus need full sun, and our colchicums will do well in full sun or a dappled shade. So I'm going to put a few different ones at the edge of our hosta garden behind here, and then also in this nice dry area around the rock. We also want to look at spacing. They're going to have a different spacing. Here we have 4 to 6 inch spacing for our colchicums because they're a little bit larger. And then the crocus are going to be set about 3 inches apart or so. And then the depth is going to relate to the size of the bulb. So for these larger colchicums, we want to plant them 4 to 6 inches deep. Typically we look at the size of the bulb and then we plant it 3 times the depth of that. My soil I thought was a bit dry. You can use a bulb digger, but they don't work as well with dry soil. So I want to get a nice deep hole in here to set my bulb. And again, the little root part is going to be facing down, and the tip where you can see it's been cut off, that's going to face up. We want to do that, otherwise our bulbs are going to grow a little bit funny underground. This just gives them a little bit of an advantage. These bulbs tend to be shipped at the end of summer or very early fall, and they're going to bloom for us this year. They'll typically bloom sometime between October and November. So here, let's look at one of these little crocus. And so for a regular crocus, I would plant it, if it was a larger one, I might plant it 2 to 3 inches deep. But since this is such a small bulb, I just want to put it about 1 inch below the soil surface. I want to give it a good chance to come up. We just use the size of the bulb for reference in planting depth, and remember to orient it in the proper way. Now I'm excited to see these come up. They're kind of a surprise because they lay dormant all summer and then they'll come up with these magnificent blooms in the fall time. Some wonderful companion plants to put with your fall blooming crocus and your colchicums include our fall blooming asters as well as chrysanthemums. They also look nice with the autumn joy sedum. And another great way to plant them is in a low ground cover like a thyme, where they'll pop up above that ground cover with these nice flowers.